So the latest iteration of the tune now requires the velocity stack, the vented door for the airbox, and it also changes the fact that aftermarket exhausts are no longer compatible. They used to list those as improvements, if I remember right. It's kind of a different tune for sure if those requirements have changed, so that's the one I have. It may not be behaving quite like the one you're used to, or quite like one that's been reviewed before. My ride starts at 6,000 feet and tops out at 8,500, and that's the basis of where I've really been using this summer. So we'll break it up into three parts. What this ECU does as advertised, what this ECU does that you probably haven't heard about, and third part would be what this thing is advertised to do but doesn't really sorry, we're getting into the jump section. What this ECU does that is not really well enough to worry about. The on-off throttle, it's supposed to improve. There's definitely a improvement. If you didn't tell me it was there, I possibly wouldn't notice it. But I feel like once you're at this level of wanting to modify your bike, you've already gotten used to the on-off throttle, and it's very livable. A little bit of clutch, a little bit of anticipation, the on-off throttle's not a problem at all. The deceleration, it does do some there, but because it doesn't do it very drastic, but maybe it meets the mark. It's been a while since I've been riding, but the bike kind of decelerates like a carbureted bike now, or close to it. If you really chop the throttle, it'll definitely decelerate like a 4-stroke. It's not a 2-stroke. Throttle response, great improvement. Power below 5,000 RPM, great improvement. And with that improved throttle response down low and the power, I can ride it in lower RPMs than I ever used to. So it's the number one thing it does. It is that boost in power around the 7,000 to 8,000 RPM point. That is noticeable and very useful. If you'll know, in 6th gear stock gear ratios, it's almost 1-for-1, kind of 70 miles per hour, 7,000 RPM. So right there where you're at a power on the stock ECU, you've got an extra 2 horsepower. And if there's a hill or a headwind, those extra 2 horsepower, or whatever it makes out to be, very noticeable. So that's probably worth the price of admission right there. If this bike, if you loved it already, put the ECU on there, it's going to be better for you. The noise has changed. If you were on the throttle, the airbox being open is quite loud. Well, it's not loud by motorcycle standards, but it's loud by CRF300 standards, which you guys know sounds almost like an electric scooter. So that's considerable. If your one love for the bike is that it's silent and you can just putt around, you're gonna lose that. Put in a clip of making intake noise here. That's the intake noise right there. That noise, however, is not awful. Unpleasant. It does make some noise, but if you're not on the throttle, it's not really that loud. And the noise it does make sounds kind of cool. Makes it sound like a motocross bike that has an open airbox. Any kind of race bike is going to have a wide open airbox or very little restriction, and that's what you got now. So bummer it's louder, but the trade-off, after a week or two here, I've decided the trade-off is well worth it. I was on the fence for a moment. The noise kind of annoyed me. but like most things, you get used to it. And it was never offensive noise, it all sounded good. That helps out a lot, of course. I actually saw a 5 to 7 mile per gallon improvement. I'm sitting at 67 miles per gallon right now, where I used to hover around 60. You know, heavy off-road it'd drop, heavy road I might get up to 63. So that's unexpected. The 5000K rattle, my immediate thoughts were it did improve quite a bit. It's not eliminated, but you know, greatly reduced, only in RPMs that are different than the wide span it used to occupy before. I did do the pair valve delete at the same time. Makes an improvement. Doesn't get rid of it. That's an added bonus. Because again, once you're at the level of changing your ECU, you probably don't hear that 5K rattle anymore.